Hello, everyone, and welcome back again. I know we have a lot of experts, but welcome back to the Healthy Kids Revolution Summit. We are so excited to have all of you participating, and hopefully everybody's getting some real nice nuggets of information to take away, things that you can implement at home. I hope you've already implemented some things that you've heard from some of the previous experts, and I am so totally excited to introduce Carolyn Scott-Hamilton to you. If you would please take a look at the first slide. There is an icon on your screen to open up the slide deck, but we have, well, I have to flip back to Carolyn's beautiful picture. There she is. So she is our featured expert today. She created Healthy Voyager how many years ago, Carolyn? Has it been 10 years?
No, 5. Well, a little bit less than that. No, 5 I came up with the idea, but '06 was when the rubber met the road.
Okay, so it's been a while in the making. I'll just tell you the accolades about Carolyn. She is amazing, and I wonder how this woman gets everything done that she gets done, but she's an award-winning healthy special diet and green living and travel expert. She's authored a cookbook, which you'll see a couple of the slides in today's presentation about her cookbook. And I don't mean to plug her cookbook so much, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a really good resource for everyone as we parents struggle to feed our kids. We struggle to get them to try things new. We get stuck in our old rut. Carolyn's put together a fantastic cookbook, and she's also a media spokesperson. She obviously travels the world, collecting these wonderful recipes and ideas. She's a television and radio personality. And Carolyn, we are so super excited to have you as part of this Healthy Kids Revolution, and I know the parents are going to love the takeaways from you. So without further ado, welcome to our presentation and our broadcast.
Thank you.
So, we have a hot button. I was reading and looking over your global cookbook, and that might be our first order of business is, where did you come up with the idea of putting this global kitchen together? Where did the brainchild come from?
Well, since travel is such a big part of what I do and what the flagship of my brand, my first book I really wanted to gear it towards that. And since I'm a nutritionist and a chef, I really wanted to kind of marry all of those together. And I thought, well, what better way to kind of bring the world to your kitchen than with a cookbook that really highlights traditional family folk recipes from around the world. So every chapter is a different country or region, and it showcases plant-based, healthier versions of these really long-standing folk recipes from across the globe. So, whether you grew up with a certain type of food or dish that you missed and you're now on a special diet, or you're looking to be a little bit healthier, or if you traveled to a nation and you saw that there was a really popular dish but you couldn't try it because of your special diet, or you wanted to recreate it because you loved it so much, I thought this book could kind of take care of all of those. And it's super fun. It's kind of a travelogue. You learn about, world culture and food, and it's super fun for all sorts of people and families included.
I think that, when you just said that, a light bulb went off in my head, and I thought fun and special, and kids love things that are fun, and I think if we can take a step into making eating fun, which I have done in my own home, and I've had a lot of success doing that with my children in particular, making it fun and actually an educational experience so they can relate to when they go, when they're studying world history and whatnot. If someone has gone out and bought this cookbook and gone through some of your recipes, they're actually going to have a leg up on the culture, the meanings of the food. And my burning question to you as a very busy mom is, how simple are your recipes? Because that, number one, other cultural recipes are daunting. I have the Elephant Walk cookbook, and I've never cooked anything Thai or Vietnamese that I can even think of, okay? So, because this stuff is scary. So how have you hopefully made it unscary for us parents that don't know how to venture out of our normal fare that we grew up cooking and eating?
Yeah, well, it depends. There are a lot of very simple recipes, and there's some that are a little more labor-intensive, but none of them are difficult.
Okay.
But again, I really wanted to stay true to real folk recipes and getting them as close to the real thing as possible. But they really are, they're fun, and there's nothing where you need to have a culinary degree to know how to do them. So they're very simple to follow, and they're quite a bit of fun, but I really did want to stay true to the the actual folk recipe, or at least something to recreate that, so you really get the feel for how they're made in that country or have been made for hundreds of years, so, but they're really not terribly difficult, no.
And so which country do you feel like probably has the most kid-friendly set of recipes or food options that you found as you've traveled the globe? I'm curious. I have something in my head, but I'm wondering what you would say would be the most kid-friendly cultural eating experience.
Well, I would think just because here in America we have, pretty specific ethnic foods that we like to frequent. So I think Mexican food, Latin food, Italian food, that is always kid-friendly because they're very accustomed to it already. So that I think is the most kid-friendly, and the American food, because we do have an American chapter in there. But I kind of like to stretch the boundaries for kids and really, I think we take kids' palates for granted, and they have taste buds just like we do, and I think it's important to kind of introduce them to new flavors early on so that they become well-rounded foodies when they grow up, instead of just sticking to, American food or burgers or pizza or chicken fingers, anything like that. So I think it's really fun to kind of like to explore a little bit with the cookbook and see, what things you want to whip up one day a week. So, one night it's African night, and another night it's Thai night, and another night it's Russian night, to kind of really travel the globe without having to leave your kitchen.
That is fantastic. And with you being a chef, what can you give us maybe like 3 or 4 of the top kid-friendly spices that you would envision us parents putting in our dishes to, for newbies that aren't so quite adventuresome? Do you have a couple of spices that you think are pretty handy to have?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're going to be cooking any Latin food, cumin is something to always have on hand. It's really, really flavorful. It adds a lot to, like, even just making simple black beans, really adding flavor to it with cumin. So that one's simple, and it's not spicy. I always tend to kind of stay away from spicy for kids. Turmeric is another one. Not only is it good for you, it raises your metabolism, it's good for your blood, but it adds color and flavor. They use it a lot in Indian cooking and Thai cooking and a little bit of Latin cooking, but it's a yellow, so you can do all kinds of fun stuff with it. You can even use it to as a food coloring. So if you're making tofu scramble, you put a little turmeric in it, and then it makes it yellow to make it look like scrambled eggs. So, there's some fun tricks you can do with that. So turmeric is a good one. And then I guess we can talk about sea salt as being a spice. I mean, it is a flavor. Yeah. It adds flavor to food, and it's something that, it's a healthier option to flavor dishes as opposed to regular table salt. So sea salt, and you need less of it than table salt, so that helps a lot, like a pink Himalayan salt. There's all kinds of neat stuff you can do with that. So for kids, those are some good ones to add flavor and also health benefits.
And the Himalayan sea salt, I had just sort of become a big fan of that and gotten, I guess, exposure to that about 2 years ago. And my understanding is that these colored sea salts, like the gray and the pink Himalayan, apparently they have not been stripped of a lot of their important minerals. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. It's the most purest form. So if you find the one that's in like the rocks form, and then it's like in the little it's like a shaker type thing. Yeah, so it comes with the grinder. So that way you have the actual chunk of it, and then it's not being processed to be broken down by any means. So that's the purest form that you can get, and it's great for you.
And as a chef, is the sea salt as salty as our regular customary white table salt that we're used to using? Do we use it in the same proportion, more or less?
I think it's about the same. Well, you use less because it's so concentrated, especially when it's in the rock. So, and there's no processing.
So don't overdo it. Maybe go on the lighter side with the sea salt and just salt to taste until you finally get it there, instead of what you're used to shaking on your whatever food you have in your salad.
Exactly. And whether you're using the grinder or not, they are a little bit bigger as far as the pieces. It's not as fine as a table salt. So you're going to get a lot more concentrated sodium, flavor from a bigger chunk than you are from a very fine powder.
Okay. I love that. And how about for the little bit more adventuresome, like if we have some parents on the line that actually have kids that have a little more advanced palate, what might be some of the spices that you would go to in the next level?
Well, I think cayenne is a great one because it adds some heat, and you can go as high or low as you want depending on your level of heat. But it also raises metabolism. It's great for your blood. It's very cleansing. So that's something that you might want to use. Cinnamon is also fantastic. It has the same effect, great for your blood, great for metabolism, and also adds flavor. And you can use it in both savory and sweet dishes. So it's very versatile, this cinnamon. So, if you're having your morning coffee, toss in a little cinnamon. That's going to help with your metabolism and kind of keep you regular, so to speak, and, adds a little nice, fun flavor to your coffee so you can use it in all sorts of ways. Those two are really good ones, I think. And one really fun one is Indian black salt, and a lot of the times you have to go to an Indian market to find it. But for vegetarians and vegans who don't eat eggs, it actually adds the egg flavor to things. So like when I make my tofu scramble, I'll use the turmeric, which makes it yellow and has the health benefits, and a little bit of the Indian black salt, and it actually smells and tastes like eggs. It's crazy.
Is there some sulfur in it? Is that what's in?
I believe there is.
Sulfur is.
I
would make it have that egg smell.
Substance, where they get it has a little sulfur, but yeah, it's really neat. They use it a lot in all sorts of Indian dishes.
Indian black salt. I think this is really interesting, and our goal again of the Healthy Kids Revolution Summit is to get parents, number one, engaged in this process of making food interesting and fun for children, because the more fun and interesting it is, the more likely I think our children are going to be to opt in to trying these new things.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Oh no, that was the end of my thought. You had a thought there?
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think that, like I said earlier, we don't give them the benefit of the doubt that they really do want to explore other things. I mean, they love learning, and as young children, they're at an age where they're absorbing. And the one area where a lot of people don't explore is with food. We just kind of shove, chicken fingers and mac and cheese, in front of them, and we don't kind of give them the option to try something new. And sure, they're probably going to say no or ew every now and again, but the more you really explore with them and take them to different places and try ethnic foods, the more they're going to kind of realize, oh, wow, there's a whole world out there than just, really quick, fast food. And they'll also really get in touch with how food is made, the culture behind food, how it affects people and what it's used for. So I think there's so much more than just eating when it comes to food. There's so much you can learn, and I think kids are at a perfect age to really absorb all of that.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you have any guidance on the age of children getting in the kitchen. Obviously, when we have knives involved, it's going to be the older children. But I started my children out probably around age 6, helping in the kitchen, scrambling eggs and overseeing it, but still letting them be part of washing the vegetables and things like that. And now I have my 11 and 13-year-olds chopping up fruit for me. We have a dehydrator here in our house, and the kids I have 2 boys, and so it's not like it's a girly thing. I have one son that's going to go to chef camp this summer, and he actually made me dinner before this call, and it's really encouraging to see. This is a kid that plays martial arts and video games all the time, but he actually takes pride in the fact that he can fix a meal. And so I encourage parents, if your child shows even just a little flicker of interest in anything in the kitchen, to nurture and grow that interest, because that will help your child become a much healthier eater.
And what absolutely, I agree. And it not only helps them health-wise, but it's such an important skill to have, so then when they go away to college, they're not subject to just eating junky convenience foods and being unhealthy. And it's so important for the rest of their lives to be able to feel self-sufficient, but it also really helps them get in touch with how things are made instead of taking for granted that, oh, food just appears in front of me, I eat, and that's it. Really getting in touch with food from, gardening and seeing how food grows and really learning to appreciate that process. And hey, mom just isn't my maid, I can go in there and help. And it's a great bonding experience, and it's also just a great way for them to increase their confidence that, hey, I can do this, I achieved this, I made this meal. And really, again, just really understanding the process of what it takes to make a meal so they don't take it for granted and they really enjoy kind of the fruits of their labor, so to speak. It's multifaceted, and getting them in as early as possible is very important from, like you mentioned, even if it's just washing some grapes or, anything like that, giving them the confidence that they can help, mommy or daddy in the kitchen anytime is really important.
Exactly. And I think, again, as we talk to our audience, we're going to have a variety of people. Some of you are stay-at-home moms. Some of you are moms that are working full-time, and you're finding time to listen to the replays of this at some point. And so, for that, the variety of audience that we have, the time with family is critical. And so I would encourage anybody, whoever's the chef in the family, whoever's the major cooker in the family, to please bring your kids in, because like you said, the last thing you said, it was in my mind. I was like, I'm hoping we're going to get to this. It's a bonding experience. And it's actually quality family time when you can prepare a meal together and then sit down and enjoy that meal together. And I just read some statistics somewhere the other day that if the less that a family eats together, the more likely there's a strong correlation between behavioral problems in their children early on and throughout all of life. If we continue to step away from the dinner table and do these fast food drive-through McDonald's things, that's not going to work for our family in the long run. It's doing them a disservice. And for me, having gone back to work, I had to kind of step back and go, I was stopping by McDonald's and Burger King every other day because I was working all day and did not have food prepared. And so maybe you can allude to that a little bit in your book. I'm just thinking that hopefully there's some tools in here that parents can come back to. And being a chef and you're a vegan chef as well. Is that what we would call you, a vegan chef?
Yes.
Or are you just okay, a vegan chef?
I say plant-based.
Okay. So in your expertise, how would you maybe guide parents to prep something easy in the morning that they could have in the evening?
Well, I have a few tips. One of my favorite is called Cook Once, Eat Thrice. So, if you're cooking something, let's say on Sunday, that you can either heat up as leftovers or reuse in different ways throughout the week, that helps a lot, so that you get some mileage out of the one time you're cooking. And, again, cooking large batches of things that you can freeze and defrost and just reheat are really fantastic. So soups, casseroles, anything like that. So, Sunday might be a fun day to get everyone in the kitchen helping prepare food for the week. I think meal plans are really key. So when you go to the grocery store, you say, okay, this is what I'm making for the week. So you can lay it out and get everything ready and chopped ahead of time. That helps. And crock-pot cooking is really fantastic. Kind of portioning everything out the night before or freezing it and then dropping it in the crock-pot in the morning. When you come home at night, dinner's already ready. So there are a number of different ways that can save you time and allow you to still be able to have, made from scratch homemade meals instead of going through the drive-thru.
And in addition to the crock pot, I would love to share the rice cooker that I have. And I bought it at Bed Bath & Beyond for like $40. And if you have your coupons, you can go get 20% off of that. But the rice cooker is amazing. It's just like you walked into a Chinese restaurant or a Thai, any of those wonderful ethnic restaurants that love to serve rice. This rice cooker, you just dump in the rice, dump in the water, and push the button, and it stays warm for you until you get home. And to me, that's been a real big help as far as preparing food for my family. Again, like you said, plan a little bit ahead, figure out how to make a couple of meals. And I'd love for you to give us an example. Do you have an example in your head that you might could pull out of making something once and eating it thrice?
Yeah, I like to say, you can never go wrong with rice and beans. With rice and beans, you can use it as a side and then, just add your protein, cook that up quickly, or you can use it in burritos, you can use it in salads, so there's so many things you can do with just rice and beans so that you have a variety throughout the week, but you're still using, the item that takes the longest to prepare. So things like that, just being creative and kind of thinking ahead are really important.
And how about lentils? I know, to me, I think that lentils are one of the superfoods as far as their high protein content and just the delicacy of them. And I know I'm not sure exactly how many cultures really have that as part of their diet, but do you have any super cool ideas around lentils and their use that you've seen as you've traveled?
Oh, for sure. I mean, everything from just the basics, lentils, which is a bean, rice and beans, or you can use it in salads. You can make lentil pate. You can make lentil hummus. You can do all sorts of fun things with lentils. So, yeah, you can make lentil tacos. You just use the taco mix and mix it with some rice and do lentil tacos. So you can do all kinds of fun things with beans and lentils. Mm-hmm.
I'd never thought of a lentil taco. I just discovered a fish taco about a month ago, and I'm like, oh, this fish taco is interesting. So the lentil taco, rice and beans, those are great standbys. And how about anything from your website? If people go to your website, what do you think might be some of the most helpful resources on there for moms that are looking to fix neat things for their kids? You've just got so much on your website.
We have weekly recipes, so that's always on the front page. You'll see the one that's highlighted for the week, and then you can also go to the recipe tab and browse. We also have an area called Road to Parenthood, which we're building more on. So, it's healthy, green tips for moms, kids, that sort of thing. We do a lot of giveaways, and, it's a lot of really neat new products that we introduce to the marketplace. So it's always fun to kind of see what we're doing there. We have a featured product of the week, and we do a lot of kid and mom stuff as well as just general household, travel, lifestyle stuff. So there's lots you can learn on the site, and we update it weekly with all new content.
Okay, and I know I was looking at one video of you making, you were using corn and water. I was wondering how many the videos that you have as far as if moms are looking for a little help in the cooking department. What tab is that? Is it under recipes? Like under your recipes, are there videos that go along with some of the recipes that are listed?
No, it's under HGTV. It's under
HGTV. Great. Okay.
Yeah,
so hopefully people have logged on and are looking.
Yeah, you'll see the different shows. We have the travel show, we have a cooking show, we have a fitness show. So when you click HGTV, you'll see all the different.
Well, this is like a one-stop shop, Carolyn. We don't have to go anywhere else because we can figure out, oh, well, there's the fitness video and here's the recipe, and this is just wonderful. Here's, if I want to go green, here are some wonderful things that I can use, and people can purchase things off of the website. And so just a little bit about you. Maybe I should have done this in the beginning, but I was so excited about what we were going to talk about the Global Kitchen, but just you personally, what's been your journey to get you here? As a global traveler that cares about food.
In 98, I moved to Los Angeles, and I read a book called Fit for Life that really just resonated with me. And I had, struggled with my weight in college, so this really just kind of hit home. And I thought, well, this is a healthier way for me to go. So I switched to a plant-based diet, and because I wanted to do it for health and I wanted to do it right, I ended up getting my master's in holistic nutrition and starting my PhD in naturopathic medicine, and I went to culinary school, and I've been on a plant-based diet ever since, and I was an avid traveler, and in 2005 I thought, well, I was surprised that there was no healthy travel show, so I started pitching it around, and the networks really loved it, but I think it was before its time. So I figured I would just, I would build it on my own, so I did. In 2006 I started the travel show online and the website, and now it's grown into a full healthy and green living brand with the site and all the shows, and I do a lot of TV segments and have the cookbook and cooking demos and all sorts of neat things.
Well, I love your journey, and I think it's always important to understand where people came from and how. It's also very interesting to figure out where people came from and how they got there. And struggling with weight in college, when you went to that plant-based diet and now being all vegan, I know I hear a lot of parents talk about, my child just won't eat meat. Can you talk to us maybe just briefly about what parents can do? Because I have one mom that's like, I don't know what to do as far as protein sources for my child. I mean, we know they can get the protein from tofu, right? And but where else would they get sources of protein and good fats that they would otherwise be missing in the animal products?
Yeah, absolutely. You get protein from beans, nuts, seeds, and in fact, you get it from all sorts of vegetables. In fact, 1 cup of spinach has more protein than a 6-ounce steak. So the whole protein thing is kind of a myth. Yeah, it's kind of a myth. You get protein from everywhere, and in fact, here in the States, we have more protein than we're supposed to have. Because, again, if you're having meat and then you're also having beans and then you're also having vegetables, you're really kind of overdoing it in the protein department. So, yeah, you get it from pretty much everywhere. So nuts, beans, seeds, and, leafy green vegetables, whole grains, so like brown rice, quinoa. If you're eating all those, you're doing super, super well in the protein department.
Excellent. And a lot of people, they now carry, I don't know if you have Costco on the West Coast, if you have Costco on the West Coast, they have quinoa in bulk. And I think they often have organic quinoa. They have cereals at Costco that have the ancient grains of millet and quinoa. And it's surprising. I'm starting to see a lot more organic things like you mentioned just now in large supply places like that. So I think the cost is coming down a little bit as far as trying to eat healthy if people just start to open up their minds and realize that there are more things than we used to eat. A lot of the quinoa is kind of, I would say, a little bit more new on the scene. I don't think people are really all that. And, of course, I'm speaking from an East Coast perspective. You people on the West Coast, y'all are so much more, you're 10 years ahead of what happens on the East Coast. But and so quinoa and millet and all those things have been floating around in y'all's vocabulary for years and years and years. But as you go, as you move east and get back over to the East Coast, it's a little bit more of a slower to adopt mentality. And maybe that's the whole impetus for putting everybody together to sort of motivate the masses on this side of the continent to get a little bit more involved in broadening their palates and trying to do more things for their kids.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's fun to explore and fun to experiment with new foods.
And that was, I think that's probably all the questions I had, Carolyn, unless you had a recap you wanted to give or anything special you wanted to share with the parents. I think that you've given us a lot of good ideas. Obviously, I think that, people would probably do well to go read Fit for Life if they've not read that book yet. And how about any other books that you might recommend as far as good things for parents that you've noticed? Is there anything that stands out in particular in your mind?
Well, the China Study is a great book. It's more just for adults. But for families, I really think that they have to kind of do what's right for their family. So, doing their own research and seeing what works for them because, what might work for me or someone else might not fit so well with, whatever they're doing, their schedule, their finances, whatever it might be. But yeah, you can always go to my website. I have tons of information and recommendations from products and books and travel stuff, and it's really kind of all-encompassing for a full lifestyle. So from me, you can kind of be linked to other things as well that I'm covering or talking about. So yeah, and again, it's just a matter of what you kind of want to do for your family and finding it. But yeah, there's so many things out there, it can be overwhelming.
It can be, and I think the goal again is to dial it down and get things simple for people. And so hopefully they will go grab a copy of your book. Obviously, go to Carolyn's website and make sure you Facebook, check her out on Twitter, make sure you show her plenty of love for being here because, again, each of our experts is here out of the generosity of their heart. They're all contributing to the health and welfare of our children with their own time. And so, Carolyn, I really sincerely appreciate you taking time out of your global traveling that you have been doing and will continue to do to share your thoughts with us because you've got a great perspective. You're offering up a great tool for parents to kind of broaden their horizons with their kids. And I just appreciate the information you shared with us as far as spices and fun things. So what I'm going to do is send out a recap to the audience of all the great things that you said just in case they didn't get something or they switched over to your website and started browsing on your website while we were having the conversation. But we want to show you lots of love and thank you very much for being a part of the Healthy Kids Revolution.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, well, we'll show you some love, and I hope you have a great day.
You too.
Okay, thanks, Carolyn.
Sure thing. Bye-bye.
The moderator has left the conference. moderator has left the conference. The conference is now completed. Goodbye. Welcome to the conference. Please enter the conference ID, followed by the pound key. Thank you. Guest ID accepted. you.